class, what we have discussed? The last class, what we have discussed? What we have discussed in the last class, Ma?
Loop type subtransmission system, ma'am.
Yeah, we are
We are
discussing the
discussing
different types of subtransmission systems. What are the different types of subtransmission systems up to now? What we have discussed? What is the first type of what is the first type of transmission system?
radial type of subtransmission
Yeah,
system.
radial type of subtransmission system. What are the advantages of radial type of subtransmission system? How
Simple in construction.
yeah, first off, how the construction will be? How the construction will be? How the radial system is framed or constructed? Anyone? How the connection will be? Um, how the connection will be? Is it the radial system or not? Just like a connection from the bulk source to the end point. What is the end point here? As it is a what is
Distribution system.
yeah, subtransmission system is a part which explains the connectivity between a substation from the bulk power source to the substation. So this comes in the category of primary distribution system. It comes in the category of primary distribution system. Just here in the radial type of system, it's a simple connection, just a conductor connected between a point to point. That means here the receiving end point and the sending end points are, okay, the receiving end point is a distribution transformer and the sending end point is the bulk power source. Is it not? Is it
Yes,
not?
ma'am.
Okay. Is there, what are the major advantages of this type of system? What are the major advantages? Please, what are the advantages? Are you having any advantages or not? But or else it's a waste type of arrangement.
Low
Simple
cost,
in
ma'am.
construction, ma'am.
Yeah, the main advantage is it is simple in construction. Good. Whenever
Low
the
cost, ma'am.
whenever the construction is simple, automatically the cost is also low. Very good. And the other main advantage is it's easy to control. Whether the system is easy to control or not, because the circuit is simple, it can be easily understandable. It can be easily understandable. So everyone can understand what is the flow of the power. So it is easy to monitor and to control. It is easy to monitor and control. Other than that, any more? Please feel free to answer. Any more? What are the major disadvantage of this system? What are the major disadvantage of this system?
No backup arrangement, ma'am.
Yeah, if the
When
fault
fault
occurs,
occurs.
if whenever a fault occurs, there is no alternative source or the no backup for the system to execute or to meet the objective of the distributive planning. What is the main objective of the distribution planning? What is the main objective of the distribution planning? What is the
Continuous
main?
Continuous
power
power.
supply and
Yeah,
reliable
continuous
transmission.
power supply. Is it possible with this radial system?
No, ma'am.
Why? Because there is no backup protection or no backup system for this type of arrangement. So we have to improvise this radial system. We have to overcome this radial system. How we have overcome this radial system? By providing a backup. By providing the backup. What backup is provided? How they are connected? So one of the substation, each and every substation acts as a backup for the other substation. Okay, in such way the connections are improvised. In such way the connections are improvised in such a way that one substation acts as the backup for the other system. So the improvised radial system has overcome the drawback what we have observed in the radial system. And when compared to the radial system, here the circuit is somewhat complicated but can be understandable. The main advantage of this radial system is faster service restoration. Faster service restoration is we can restore the service within the short time, because we are having the bike. Just we'll we'll change the substation. We'll change the substation if any fault occurs in one of the substations. So because we have already planned for the backup system. Already we have planned for the backup system. So this is the second method. And what is the third method? What is the third method? What is the third method, ma? What is the next method? Are you
Loop
following
type
or not?
arrangement, ma'am.
Loop type of arrangement. So what is how the arrangement is? How the arrangement is? How the loop type of arrangement? How it is connected? The name itself indicating. The name itself indicating. If it is forming a closed path, if it is forming a closed path, then we call it as a loop. So here in this, okay, in this, the first of all the starting point is the bulk power. The starting point is the bulk power source. From that we start the connection. From that we start the connection to the substation. And from that substation we move to the connection to the second substation, and from that we are moving to the third substation. At the end we are reaching to the same starting point, that is the bulk power source. So here if you observe, the arrangement is forming an loop. So this type of arrangement is called as loop type of arrangement. This type of arrangement is called as loop type of arrangement. Is there backup for the system? Is there the backup for the system? Is there the backup for the system? Each and every substation is provided with the backup or
No,
not?
ma'am.
No backup? No backup? Why 9? What is the meaning of this connection? What is the meaning of this connection? What is the meaning of this connection?
Backup is there, ma'am, but if any fault occurs,
Yeah, if any fault occurs within this line, then here the connectivity is missing. Here we are planning, we have provided the backup system. If a fault occurs at this point, is the backup provided for the system? No,
no,
no
ma'am.
backup. Is it clear? Did you understand the point? Okay, as it is of a loop type of arrangement, if the fault occurs in this area, is there backup for the substation one? Is there any backup for the substation one? Please answer.
No, ma'am.
What about the others? Other than this girl, no one is there in the class? Are you remaining members? Are you there in the class or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Then what is the problem for responding? Are you following the class or not? She is the only one member in the class? Why you are all not responding? You can also answer, na? How can I get you? Are you following or not? Without responding. So what happens if the fault occurs here? What happens if the fault occurs here? Is the second substation is providing any backup to the first substation? No. Is it clear? Is it
Yes, ma'am.
providing?
No,
Is
ma'am.
it? So how then? Are you meeting the objective of the distribution system? Or are you
No,
meeting the objective of the distribution
no,
planning?
ma'am.
No. Is it clear? So the measure here, what is the advantages and what is the disadvantages of the loop type of arrangement? Advantage is the number of connections are reduced in a loop type of arrangement. The number of connections are reduced in the loop type of arrangement, whereas whereas, okay, coming to the disadvantage, if there is a fault occurs in a major connections, in the primary connections, then the system will not be provided with any backup. So this is the major disadvantage of loop type of arrangement. Major disadvantage of loop type of arrangement. 1 minute, ma. I will be back with you. Ma, small announcement for you. Okay, please Inform me anyone of your class are affected with a COVID because it's a urgent data required for the university. Anyone of your class are affected with a COVID. Are you listening to my words?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Is there anyone of your friends are affected with COVID? Friends in the sense class friends. Okay, out of anyone?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
ఎవరు లేరంటున్నాను ఓకే థ్యాంక్ యూ మా ఎస్ మ్యామ్ బాలు మేడం ఒక నిమిషం ఉండండి జగన్ జగన్ దేనికి ఎస్ బాబు వాట్ ఈస్ ద మీనింగ్ ఆఫ్ దట్ ఎస్ ఆర్ యూ ఎఫెక్టెడ్ విత్ కోవిడ్ ఓకే 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 నెక్స్ట్ ఓన్లీ బాలు ఓకే ఒకళ్ళంట మేడం సో కమింగ్ టు ద క్లాస్ విల్ బి బ్యాక్ టు ద క్లాస్ okay so this is about the loop type of arrangement and the next type of arrangement so each and everything each and every system what we have explained is having its own advantages along with an also along with an disadvantages so what is the other alternative so out of these three types the first one is radial type and the second one is improvised radial type and the third one is loop type what are the things you have observed which out of these three which one is suggestible out of these three if you are an engineer which one is suggestible which you suggest
Improve radial type, ma'am.
improved radial type okay is it providing the complete backup system is it applicable for a vast area it is applicable to cover the vast area in the sense if you want to plan for a new number of connections then is it suggestible
No, ma'am.
why 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 so what we have discussed here okay what we have discussed in the improvised radial system okay so how many backup systems are provided each and every one is provided with a substation one is provided with a substation 2 okay substation 2 and substation 3 is provided with a backup for the substation 4 and vice versa here the grid is common but the bulk sources are so if it don't cover the vast area it is limited to an smaller region this type of arrangement so in the same manner just we have improvised the system with too many of backup systems and at the same time which covers a number of service areas okay then such type of arrangement is called as grid or network type of arrangement here if you observe this type of arrangement okay is it similar to that of radial system if you observe this type of radial system if we observe this system is it similar to a radial system or not please observe the screen please observe the connections how the connections are please is there any similarity or not
Yes, ma'am.
what you have identified the difference what you have identified the difference
Bulk power source, ma'am.
Yeah, first point. Here, instead of having a single source, we are having a two bulk power sources. Very good. Ma, please
Number of backup
interact.
systems, ma'am.
Remaining members, please interact. It's an interactive session. It's not a single-sided class. This was discussed a number of times. I'm saying the words a number of times because it's a general subject. It's a general subject. We can discuss more if you also interact. How the class will be interesting if only one-sided. What the thing I'm asking? Just I'm asking what you have observed. What you have observed is this type of arrangement. What is the difference between the radial system and the grid or network type of system? What are the major differences you are identifying? There's a question here. This seems that you are not listening to the class. I have to understand in that way. Stress? Stress? So what are the differences? What are the differences? Here, if you observe, the major difference is instead of using a single bulk source, we are having a two bulk power supplies. And here, and each and every substation is connected with a backup with one or two substations. So if you observe this substation, okay, mark them as substations as 1, 2, okay, 3 and a 4. Okay, so how these are connected? If I suppose if you observe this, one is connected to the 2, at the same time one is also connected to a 3, sorry, 4, 5, 5, one is also connected to 5, 6, 5. So each substation is provided with a, you can share the load, and if a fault occurs, okay, 2 will serve the substation 1. At the same time, 5 will also serve the substation. Is it not? Is it not? Okay,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
okay, the main advantage of this system is already each and every substation has to meet the demand of that substation. Each and every substation has to meet the demand of that substation. If the fault occurs in this substation, what happens? The total load of this substation 1 will be transferred to the substation 2. What happens? Here at this moment, if the fault occurs at substation 1, the substation 2 is overloaded in the sense it has to meet the demand of 2 along with 1. It has to meet the demand of 2 along with 1. Instead of overloading 2, the substation 2, if it is shared between 5 and 2, is it reasonable? If we share the load of 1 between 2 and 5, is it reasonably good or not? It will not affect the other substation. It will not affect the demand of the other substations. Is it clear, Ma? Did you got my
Yes,
point?
ma'am.
Okay. So similarly, in the same way, each and every substation is provided with a backup with the other substations. Each and every substation is provided with a backup of the other system. So what about the percentage of uninterrupted supply here? What is the percentage of uninterrupted supply here? When compared to that of other methods, what is the percentage? Is it include or not? We can achieve about
Improved.
90% of uninterrupted. Yeah, you can achieve about 90% of uninterrupted supply by using this grid or network type of arrangement. By using this grid type network type of advantage. What are the limitations? What are the limitations in this type of method? What you have observed? What are the limitations? What are the limitations? What are the limitations? Any limitations? Please respond, ma. What you are feeling on observing this diagram?
Two bulk power sources, ma'am.
Or bulk power sources? Yeah, fine. That you have. Then what are the limitations? Is the network is complex or not? Is the network
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
or not? Yeah. Is the if as the network is complex, it requires more monitoring. It requires more monitoring and control. It requires more monitoring and control. Okay. What about the cost? The cost also increased. The cost also increased. Is it clear? The cost also increased. Okay, so the thing here is what you have to understood is each and every system will have its own advantages as well as the disadvantages. The choice is up to you. The choice is up to you. You have to decide which one is reasonably good for that situation, for the requirement. Okay, each and every system. If the service area is a limited area, if the service area is a limited area, then and it does not require more complexity, and here the control needs to be easy, then we will go with a radial system. If we go with a radial system, and if it is a prime location, and here the supply is a crucial point, and we must provide without any interruption in the supply, then we'll go for a grid or a network type of arrangement, even it is costly. Even it is costly. Why? Because that area, the primary requirement of that area is uninterrupted supply. So in this way you have to decide the type of arrangement as per the requirement. You have to decide the type of the arrangement as per the requirement. Is it clear? Did all of you understood?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
please all of you copy down this diagram. All of you copy down this diagram and inform me after you completing. All of you copy down the diagram. All of you completed? This is one of the important 7 marks question in the second unit. Explain the different schemes for the sub-transmission systems, or the different arrangement of sub-transmission systems. The thing what you have to understood is sub-transmission system is nothing but an primary distribution system. Sub-transmission system is nothing but the primary distribution system, and it's a way of arrangement from the bulk supply, bulk power source supply to substation, from bulk power supplies to substation. You already completed, ma?
No, ma'am.
Completed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
So in short, what are the four different sub-transmission systems? What are the four sub-transmission systems?
radial type,
Radial
ma'am.
type.
Radial type?
Loop
Improved
type.
radial type.
Yeah, improved radial type,
Loop type.
loop type, grid
Grid.
or network type. Is it clear? So what is the major limitation of an radial type? What is the major limitation of the radial type?
No back.
Rajshekar, Rajshekar, lateral entry 3, Rajshekar, Rajshekar, Rajendra, Rajendra. So here if you observe that I am not taking the attendance daily at the end of the class. Are you noticing that or not? Are you noticing that I am not taking the attendance at the end of this class? Okay, if you respond when I am asking the question, then only you will have your attendance, or else the attendance for the class is absent. Okay, so remember that. Nagendra Babu, Nagendra Babu, Nagendra Babu, Pradeep, Pradeep, 216.
Ma'am,
What is the disadvantage of the radial system?
low service continuity, ma'am.
Yeah, why? Because what is the reason for the no service continuity?
Continuity of power ఉండదు, ma'am.
Because of no backup protection, backup systems.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
216, lateral entry 216, 216. What is the what is the limitation of an loop type of system? What is the limitation in the loop type of arrangement? Omsi, Omsi, Omsi,
యాక్యురేషన్ కరెక్ట్గా ఉంటుంది మేడం.
huh?
ఇనాక్యురేషన్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది.
Inaccuracy.
అవును మేడం.
Inaccuracy in the sense of, in what point I have to consider the inaccuracy word? In what aspect?
ఆటోమేషన్కి పాసిబుల్ అవుతుంది మేడం.
Are you following Google? Are you following Google? That means you are not followed my class.
మధ్యలో జాయిన్ అయ్యాను మేడం, నోట్స్ రాయలేదు.
Ganesh, 225 Ganesh, 225 Ganesh, Trinath, Trinath. Okay. So this is about the subtransmission systems, and the next one is the next topic is cost of substations. The cost of substations. So what you know about the establishment of substation? What you know about the establishment of substation? Did we discuss that point or not? What are the requirements? What are the requirements for the expansion or establishment of an substation?
Yes, ma'am.
What are the requirements? What are
Feeder,
the what are the requirements?
feeder and lateral, ma'am.
Feeder and what are the things you have to consider while planning for the substation establishment? What are the factors to be considered for the establishment of substation? What are the major
Reliability and continuity, ma'am.
the reliability and continuity?
Load
Okay, fine.
forecast.
Load forecasting. So here substation costs are categorized. Substation costs are categorized into 4 groups. Substation cost. What is the total cost? What is the total cost involved for the substation establishment? What is the total cost involved in the substation establishment? Is nothing but an substation cost, because the major equipment. What is the major investment is included in the distribution system? What is the major cost in the distribution system? What is the major cost in the distribution system? What a distribution system includes? What a distribution system includes?
Transformers, feeders.
Yeah, transformers, feeders. Where these transformers are located?
Feeders.
First of all, how the power is transmitted? Here, the major cost is involved in the substation establishment. Is it
Substation to
not?
transformer and transformer to consumer, ma'am.
Yeah, substation to transformer, transformer to consumer. So out of this, where the cost more majority of the where the cost major cost is employed or involved?
At the feeders, ma'am.
Feeder in the sense, what is the feeder there? Feeder సబ్స్టేషన్ ఉంటేనేగా. మరి నేను క్వశ్చన్ ఏం అడుగుతున్నాను, సబ్స్టేషన్ ఈ మొత్తం డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ ప్లానింగ్ లో దేనికి కాస్ట్ ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది అనేది నా పాయింట్. దేనికి కాస్ట్ ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది? ఫీడర్ అన్నా లాటరల్ అన్నా కండక్టర్ వైర్ అని మాత్రమేగా చెప్పుకుంటున్నాం మనం. The terminology has been changed. When you call that word feeder, the feeder is termed is a transmission line between a substation to the transformer. If you are transmitting the power from transformer to the consumer, then we term it as an lateral. Whether it's a feeder or a lateral, both are of conductor types. Is it not? Both are conductor types. Is it not? Okay. So when compared to that of fan, transformer or an conductor, where the major cost is involved in the establishment of an substation. Is it not? Is it not? So how the cost of these substations are? How this cost of the substations are divided? How the cost of the substations is divided? For in general, what you get an idea? What are the things you are getting in your mind when I use the word substation cost? What are the costs involved?
Cost of the labor, cost of the land,
Maintenance cost, capital
Yeah,
cost.
very good. Maintenance cost, capital cost, losses, transmission losses, all these will be involved in the substation cost itself. So write down. First one, substation cost is substation cost is categorized. Substation cost is categorized into 4 groups. Substation cost is categorized into 4 groups. First one, site costs. First one, site costs. What the site cost means? Selecting the site and buying that site, or owning that site, okay, or taking the lease of site, okay, all the costs involved in this, okay, all the costs involved in the preparation of, for the selection of a site for the establishment of substation is called as site cost, is called as site cost. So write down first group, site costs. First group, site costs. The cost of buying the site, the cost of buying the site, the cost of buying the site and preparing it for a substation, the cost of buying the site and preparing it for a substation, the cost of buying the site and preparing it for a substation. Second group, transmission costs. Transmission cost. Transmission cost. The cost of terminating transmission at the site. The cost of terminating transmission at the site. What it includes? Transmission cost in the sense the arrangement of the feeders, okay. So we have to transmit the power from the substation to the transformer. How you transmit? By the feeders. So the cost include in the arrangement of the transmission, that is feeders provided with an okay, relays or the protection schemes for that are included in the transmission cost, Did you got my point? Is it clear, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the
Yes,
first one is site cost and the second one is transmission cost. The next one is transformer cost. Transformer cost. So what are the major equipment used in the distribution system? What is the major equipment? You are using in the distribution system? Other than that, nothing but transformers. Is it not? All the way. Okay. If you want in the secondary system, in the secondary distribution system, okay, how you are transmitting the supply to the consumers? By the distribution transformers or not?
yes, ma'am.
So the major equipment in the substation, is nothing but a transformer. So write down transformer cost. Okay, when you are having the transformer, it includes the maintenance also. Okay, so the transformer and all metering, the transformer and all metering, control, oil spill containment, fire prevention, cooling, noise abatement, and other transformer related equipment, and other transformer related such as relaying, switches, breakers, relays, switches, breakers, associated with transformer arrangement. associated with transformer arrangement. So what are the costs involved in the transformer cost? What are the costs involved in the transformer? Whenever you are placing a transformer, okay, the metering equipment is required to measure the values, and the control of the transformer is required in each and every movement, and the maintenance of the transformer, that is nothing but a oil spill containment and the fire prevention and the noise, all these controls, transformer oil maintenance, all this comes under the maintenance of the transformer. In addition to this, the relaying circuits, the relay circuits and the switches and the breakers are also required to switch on and off whenever the fault occurs. All this protection equipment or operating equipment related to the transformer arrangement are involved in the transformer cost Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the next one, feeder buswork or gateway cost. Feeder buswork or gateway cost. The cost of beginning distribution. The cost of beginning distribution at the substation. The cost of beginning the distribution at the substation, which includes getting feeders out of the substation. Okay, so the feeder cost or the transmission loss cost is also included in the substation costs. So what are the costs involved in the substation, ma? What are the costs? How they are categorized? How are categorized? They are
Site cost.
Yeah, site cost. What is the site cost?
Transmission.
What is the site cost? The establishment or the land cost. The establishment or the selection of the site or the land cost comes, or the capital investment comes in the site cost. Okay, and the second one group is the transmission cost. And the third one is the second one is transmission cost, and in this the transmission losses involved, the cost involved in the transmission losses or category or evaluated. In the third one is transformer cost, where the maintenance or the establishment of the transformers along with the protection equipment or the operating equipment of the transformer comes into the group of transformer costs. And the fourth one is feeder bus work or gateway costs. Okay, the outgoing lines from the substation, okay, to transmit the power are known as the feeders, and the establishment or the installation of the cost involved for the feeders comes into the group of feeder cost. Is it clear, ma? Did all of you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Did all of you? So this is the second question. Okay, and this question will be mostly in your 2 marks bits or in a multiple choices. So these are the four costs involved. Okay, the first one, transformer cost, site cost, and feeder cost, and transmission cost. Is it clear? In the next class, we'll go with an arrangement of substation bus schemes. So here, if you observe, the distribution system is divided into two categories. The first one is primary, and the second one is secondary distribution system. Primary distribution system is from bulk power source to substation, whereas secondary is from substation to transformers to distribution transformers. Is it clear for all of you? To distribution transformer. The arrangements in the primary distribution system are named as sub-transmission systems, that we have discussed previously. Sub-transmission systems. What are the sub-transmission systems? Radial, loop, and grid or network type. Don't get confused. Okay, grid or network. And here substation bus schemes means, substation bus schemes is we are moving to the secondary distribution system. This is the connection from substation to distribution transformer. Substation to distribution transformer. The arrangement from the substation to the distribution transformer are called as substation bus schemes. Okay, mostly you'll get confused and you'll write answers from for the if the question was asked for the sub-transmission system, the many of the times, okay, you will write the answer as a bus schemes. Don't get confused. Sub-transmission systems is a system from is a part of a primary distribution system which explains the connectivity between a bulk source to substation, whereas substation bus schemes are from the substation to distribution transformers, In this also we are having a different types of arrangements. And each and every arrangement will have its own advantages as well as limitations. So, and we'll discuss in the next class. We'll discuss about this type of arrangements in the next class. Is it clear, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. We'll wind up this class by this and we'll continue in the next class. Okay. So when your class test is announced, ma? When is your EDS class test? On the first unit. Will you write on Friday?
Friday, ma'am.
Yeah, that's the thing I remember. Okay, so on Friday you will have the class test. You will have the class test on first unit. Is it clear?
Yes,
Okay, ma'am.
So, are you having idea of your questions from the first unit? Did I discuss if the questions or not from first unit? Which textbook you are following? Which textbook you are following? Which textbook? How many of you are having either the soft copy or a hard copy of textbook? No one? Okay, you'll get your soft copy of Turangonen in your direct download. Okay, you'll have your textbook soft copy of electrical distributions by Turangonen. Okay, you'll have find your soft copy. Please, all of you follow the textbook for preparing. Okay. Is it
Okay,
clear?
ma'am.
Okay. So we'll wind up this class and we'll continue in the next class. Okay, thank you, ma.